Hey everyone, welcome to the stream. I had nothing specific planned for today, but I was just I did a lab for the teaching gig where I teach cloud, right? So we're going over some application load balancers and VPCs and EC2 instances, and I just got done with that. Then I had some work related stuff that I was doing this morning. And yeah, right now I wanted to take a break, and here we are streaming. Spider-Man wallpaper was dope. Thank you. Yeah. So this, I guess you saw my Reactor stream yesterday. I had an event with Microsoft Reactor in Toronto, and it was also live streamed, where I talked about Twilio and how you can use SMS API with Python, and I did a demo with Flask. I did like one-way, two-way communication demo with Flask and Python with Twilio. So yeah, I have the leap of faith wallpaper, it's known as. Let me look it up here real quick. So, leap of faith, Spider-Man images. Yeah, this particular wallpaper, or it's a scene from the Spider-Verse movie, and yeah, I love Spider-Verse, or I am a huge fan of Spider-Man, but I think Into the Spider-Verse was just amazing. I'm also a huge fan of animation, whether it be Disney or animes. I love them, so it's a really good movie. I love this wallpaper, so I have it on my work setup, as you can see behind. So on my work laptop, I have this as the wallpaper. Okay, I think went too deep into the wallpaper description here. Let's go over some of the questions. Hi Zach, how are you? How's it going? Ahmed says, any ideas about DevOps projects? Yeah, so I feel like there are a couple of DevOps projects, and one of the repo that comes into my mind is it's called DevOps exercises. So DevOps I think that's what it's called. Yeah, this one. So go check this repo out. It's amazing. You can pick the category you wanna go for. So DevOps, CI/CD, Git, Ansible, Network, Linux. There's a bunch of categories here. And then you basically do some exercises to get hands-on. I do believe they had projects. I don't know if I missed that. But yeah, you can go through this. It's a really good guide. Let's see if I can find a project. But yeah, they do list a couple of things or a couple of tasks you have to do in a specific tech stack here, or not tech stack, but basically specific technology here. So let's say you pick Python, you can go through a bunch of exercises that you want to make sure you understand, but you can also start from scratch. So they start from hello world and go down the rabbit hole with Python, and then you have exercises that you'll do to get you that hands-on practice. So DevOps exercise is a good one. The other one I think is really good is 90 Days of DevOps by Michael Cade. Huge shout out to Michael for creating this. But yeah, you basically have 90 days of tasks that you have to do to get into DevOps, right? So I think that's a good resource. It kind of gives you like a good brief not brief, I would say, but a good plan for the next 90 days, right? And then I plan on including some projects in the DevOps guide. So this is the guide that I'm working on right now, and I'm building this in public. It's free and open source, and I love. So shout out to GPS. Uh, let me open up her channel. Hey, we got a subscriber. Thank you. So she has, some of you already know she's my best friend, and she has some live streams that are that she planned out. So the next one is how to get into cloud computing. Before this, she had one with Day where they talked about how to get into cloud security or cybersecurity. And this one is going to be amazing if you're specifically interested in cloud. So this one is with Lou, who also runs the Open Up the Cloud channel. But what I wanted to talk is about this post she made here, which is really good. So basically, she talks about how in tech people would try to sell you a Udemy course or ebook, especially like boot camps, which can get really expensive. But there are a lot of resources that are available for free. Specifically, I think we come from, since our expertise are in cloud and DevOps, and same thing with Gwen, she creates amazing content for cloud and DevOps. She has Learn to Cloud guide. That's again a free and open source 6-month guide, right? The only thing you need is to, have discipline and have like faith that you can do this with these free resources. So she talks about, hi, for all those askings, here's my advice to how to get in tech. Most tech influencers would charge you money or sell you some BS Twitter ebook for this. So I would appreciate a like and subscribe. That's what she's all asking about, is a like and subscribe, because she's been doing this for 2 years, or maybe more. I could be wrong. 2 or 3 years now. And she's been doing this for free, right? So there's a resource that's available for free. Her channel, go check out her channel. This is exactly what I did. So same here. I didn't buy some ebook, some bootcamp course, right? I did get some subscription, but that was from work, like A Cloud Guru and other, certification platforms that you can get courses from. But I didn't spend like money from my own pocket. And you might also get these benefits at your workplace that you are currently in. But if you don't, you still have these free alternative resources, right? So this is exactly what she did to go from $15 an hour selling iPhones to my way up to $175K base salary. She talks about, starting in support. If you're trying to enter into tech, I think support in general is a great role to start in, even if you're have a non-traditional background in tech. For me, I started in support. When here you can see also started in support, and I think I learned a lot of things that to this day helps me. So things like empathy and patience, I learned a lot about them when I was in support, right? But also things like documentation, because I would document tickets when I would talk to customers, and you have to be fast, precise, not take long to write your ticket. And that to this day is helping me, right? So she advises that you start in support, you get these great high-level skills, documentation, ticketing systems, and troubleshooting, right? You start to think out of the box. You go in without assumptions because you don't know if the customer would be, tech savvy, or what kind of questions to ask the customer when you're troubleshooting issues. So those skill sets will really help you, right? Besides upskilling, get 2 most relevant certs for the role you want, right? For me, it was cloud practitioner in AWS and solutions architect. I think that was enough, even though I went ahead and got 13 certifications, but I don't think that was worth the time and the money. 2 certifications are a good balance. 2, maybe 3 in certain cases if you want to go to the pro level. But I feel with Gwen's advice, I think too is really good. Have hands-on practice. Certifications alone won't give you the job. You need to have hands-on practice, right? And when you are applying to your next role to get into tech, don't pay, like, if you only meet 50% of the job requirements, apply it. That's what Gwen's advice is here, and my too. I never meet all the requirements in a job listing. Most importantly, learn how to learn. I'm gonna paste this somewhere, like have a quote, frame this. Learn how to learn is really important. I think one of the things that helped me where I am right now is the skill of learning, like how you have to grasp, like, how do I understand concepts? Is it by doing, by reading, by watching videos? Boot camps and such will sell you dreams, and yes, I get some people need that type of guidance and structure, but I just don't see how they're worth the several tens of thousands that they charge when you can teach yourself everything at home. Attend free meetups, definitely. I think networking is really important. Not networking as in the technology, like IP addressing and stuff, is also important, but also networking with your peers and professionals, other professionals in the industry, is also important. Be honest, authentic, and work hard. You can do this. I think this was great. So I wanted to share this. I read this last night, and I think this is amazing. But yeah, great advice. And if you haven't checked her channel, do check it out. It's amazing. And as I was saying, she has some live streams planned. But coming back to the DevOps guide, which is inspired, and as I was also part of Learn to Cloud, I'm still part of it. I try to maintain it, do some manage some GitHub stuff for Learn to Cloud. I did create the DevOps guide, and I'm still creating it, so it's not finished yet. As you can see, there are some active commits that are happening, kind of not daily, but weekly. But the goal with this is, a one like open source free guide to help you get into DevOps. Right now, it just goes over what DevOps is, and then I have like phases that you can go over. So CI/CD, version control system, infrastructure as code, configuration management, containerization, and monitoring and observability. So yeah, go check it out. I'll paste it in the chat. But yeah, that's the guide. And what I'm planning to do is give it a bit of structure on like how much time you should spend at each phase and what should be the learning outcome. But yeah, for most of it, the CI/CD part and version control system and IAC is done. I'm left with configuration management and monitoring and observability. So you can go into like CI/CD and learn what is CI/CD and some resources that I think are great. Again, there are all these amazing community members that have provided these resources for free. Same thing with version control system, and then infrastructure as code. The next thing that I'm working towards is have projects built into this guide where you can practice that particular phase. So let's say CI/CD, you can practice that, right? So yeah, that's the DevOps guide. Let me know if you have any feedback. That's the whole point of building it in public, is I'm gathering feedback and improvising it, improving it as a community. Okay, going over another question. So can you describe what's your work in simpler terms? I want to know, how does real world jobs work or what they ask to solve? So right now I'm a developer evangelist for Twilio. Shout out to Twilio. So I'm wearing a Twilio hat. And my job is to create awareness about, how Twilio works, like what APIs do we offer, how they help developers and consumers with customer engagement. So we have voice APIs, SMS, WhatsApp, email. So those are some major offerings that Twilio has and how those APIs work. So documentation, blogs, videos, going to events, talking to other developers and how they are using Twilio, right? If they have any challenges using Twilio. So helping all of, like, doing all of that, right? So that is my current role. So yesterday, some of you saw that I had a Microsoft Reactor event where I talked about Twilio SMS. And yeah, so that is kind of my day to day. I go to conferences, go to meetups, talk about Twilio, both, as I said, through written blogs, documentation, or video-based content, or in person. And then also I'm working with other teams at Twilio with our champions program and field operators, which is student ambassadors program, to bring more awareness and help communities, developer communities, with what Twilio has to offer. How can one make a standout profile to start as a remote intern in the DevOps field? I would say have projects that show the skill set that you're looking for. So for DevOps, you need multiple skills that are listed here in the DevOps guide, right? So have projects, right? Have a CI/CD pipeline for your personal website, maybe. Configure monitoring for it. Maybe you're tracking how the traffic is on your website. So have that like publicly available. Have those projects publicly available. That'll make you stand out. So when I apply for jobs, I usually include the skills and the previous projects that I work on within a company. Like what were some key things that I achieved. But if you're a fresher, I get that you don't have much experience. And I think that's where you replace like past experience with projects. So have hands-on projects that either solve like a problem that you might be facing, and then, like for example, if you have a personal portfolio, right, make sure it has a CI/CD pipeline. Make sure you have monitoring enabled on it, right? There are logs being captured. There is traffic that is being captured, right? Make sure it's in a version control system like GitHub, right? If you're using, make sure you're using infrastructure as code like Terraform to deploy your project from version control to like actual infrastructure in the cloud, right? So you can do things like that to stand out with one or two. At least have one solid project. I think 2 is a good amount of projects to have on your resume. Pin. I guess you meant pin. So I pinned the URL on top. Thanks for the suggestion. I should do that. Okay. So the next one is, I'm currently planning to learn DevOps through Udemy. Would you recommend it? If not, what else? Yeah, go check out free resources like this. So the DevOps guide, I showed the 90 days of DevOps, right? I know a lot of other amazing creators have more resources. I think Kunal has a DevOps bootcamp. So if I go to Kunal, go check out his playlist. He has a whole playlist on the DevOps. So he has entire DevOps bootcamp, which has 47 videos available for free. I think that's great. So go check it out. I have seen his Git in GitHub course, and I've seen a bunch of other videos in regards to containerization. I think they're great. So I'm gonna, based on those, I will say I think he has great resources available. So yeah, I just posted the playlist. I think I just posted the individual video, but yeah, check out his playlist. Or you can just search DevOps Bootcamp Kunal and it'll show up. And then 90 days of DevOps is also good for starting into DevOps. Smeet says, learn how to learn. TED Talk. I don't know if it's a TED Talk. Let's search. Learn how to learn. TED Talk. How to learn anything. I'm guessing this is the one, right? Yeah. So yeah, you should, especially if you're self-teaching yourself, I think you should sit down and find out what works for you. Crazy Gamer says, are DevOps role or the cloud same? No. They can be different. They can be same. It depends organization to organization, company to company. So yeah, check their descriptions. I think, like, even to this day, I find cloud engineer descriptions to be different when you compare multiple job descriptions. So yeah, I would say that stick to the job description and see what are some tooling and what are some skills they mention for that role. And you would find that there is a cloud engineering role that requires a bit of knowledge of DevOps. Or an integral part. So Crazy Gamer says, are DevOps role or the cloud the same or integral part? I do believe that if you want to be in DevOps, you need to understand cloud computing to a certain level. You need to understand Linux and networking, and then all of the other things that I have mentioned in the DevOps guide. So yeah, I do think they both are pretty tied together. But you could also be a DevOps engineer that's running stuff on-prem. So there's that. How to get intern in DevOps. So I, to be honest, haven't looked for roles or internships specifically in DevOps, but I usually use Indeed or Google to just search. So let's search DevOps intern. Okay, so there's a role by IBM here for DevOps developer intern. There's a co-op, and I'm based in Canada, so that's why all of these results are in Canada. But yeah, there are a bunch of DevOps role available here as an intern. There's this co-op intern developer DevOps, and it's remote. But again, all of these are specifically in Canada, so I would just search Indeed, or I don't know what's a popular job board in India. Okay, Akshat says, thanks for such a great clarification. Oh, well, thank you for hopping on the stream. Okay, Safa says, is that Linux much important to get to DevOps? I believe Linux is really important both in DevOps and cloud. It's an integral part of cloud, and it'll help you. I have seen people get around. It's been a long going debate. I have a YouTube video on this, I think. Yeah, do you need Linux and networking for cloud? I answered this specific question in a video because I have been asked that a lot of time. So I'm gonna paste that here. Okay. So yeah, go check that video out, but I do believe it's important. Rahul in Cloud says, what tools do you use to prepare notes that are really concise and to the point? So I stick to GitHub. So you'll see repos, and most of them are public now. But I used to have private repos. And that's what I use. I use Markdown to write my notes in. So, Cloud Notes is one of the amazing repos that I have with my cloud certification notes, you might be familiar with. And they're basically notes written in Markdown. So, like, these are my notes for Azure Fundamentals exam. And yeah, they're basically Markdown files. And you can, you know, they look good on GitHub, but I also have a web app that you can access these notes on. So yeah, I use Markdown and GitHub. So I would create a repo what I'm learning. Let's say I'm learning Kubernetes. I'll create a repo called Learning Kubernetes and just create a README there and take down my notes. I use VS Code locally for development. So I'll open that repo in VS Code and write my notes. Crazy Gamer says, did you complete your bachelor's from India? No, I don't have a bachelor's degree. I did a 2-year diploma here in Canada, and that's what I have. I don't have a bachelor's degree yet. And if you want, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. And if you are curious to know what diploma I have, it's computer networking and technical support that I did at St. Lawrence College in Kingston. So I graduated in 2018, and I'll have my LinkedIn in the chat. Okay. What tools do you use to prepare notes? Okay, I answered that. Did you complete your bachelor's from India? Answered that. Really loved your job description. It sounds fun and tough. Yeah, I find it exciting. This is the first time I'm working in this kind of role, right? And you can see the past roles that I've worked in, right? So prior to Twilio, I worked at Google as a technical solution specialist, and prior to that, I worked at ECI as a DevOps engineer, cloud engineer, and I started my career in support in 2018. So yeah, this one has been an exciting change for me. And I'm loving it so far. But yeah, sometimes it can get overwhelming because I talk to a lot of developers and community members and go to a lot of events. So there's a lot of travel involved, and that can get overwhelming sometimes. Okay. Safa says, what can I do after Azure Fundamentals? I went for AZ 104. I don't know if you're meaning this in the terms of certifications. And I'll also show what certifications I currently hold. Okay, so these are the 13 certifications that I currently have. And for Azure, I went for the Azure 104, which is the Azure Administrator Associate after the AZ 900. I do also have some other fundamentals, so I was really interested in security, the SC series that Azure came out with. So I have the security one, I have the data fundamentals one. Because as a cloud engineer, I was working with SQL a lot, so and I got a voucher for this, so I said that. But yeah, as I was saying, 2 or 3 certifications are enough. Don't spend much time. Like, don't do what I did here. Don't get 13 certifications, because I think you can utilize your time better. But yeah, if it was in certifications point of view, the question that what can you do after Azure Fundamentals, I would recommend Azure Administrator, or there is a developer focused one, which is AZ 204. That is also good if your goal is to be a cloud developer. So AZ 204 is developing solutions for Microsoft Azure. So that is a good certification after AZ 900. Okay. So Crazy Gamer says, I have been recommended to start with Google Cloud certification from Coursera, but the more I research, a lot of people suggested AWS. What's your take? I'm guessing you're asking me which cloud provider you should pick, and that depends totally. Like, just pick one, whichever you like the most. So let's say you're still confused and you don't have a preference of which cloud provider you like. Go and look at the job postings. So let's say you want to be a cloud engineer, type in cloud engineer on Indeed or whatever job board you look at, and see which cloud provider is mentioned the most in those job postings. So let's say it's AWS in your case. Then go learn AWS because there is more jobs that you can apply to, right? And I feel like once you know a particular cloud provider, I don't want to say easy, but it's manageable to transfer those skills over to another cloud provider. I started in AWS 2 years ago, and I'm like really comfortable with using AWS, but it was easy for me to transfer my knowledge over to Azure. And then I got a job at Google where, I was working in GCP, and that was also easy for me to transfer my AWS knowledge or Azure knowledge over to GCP. So yeah, go look at job postings and make your decision that way, which cloud provider you want to pick. Karan S says, how do you end up in this job? So if you have been following me or my YouTube for a while, I have this, and this is available publicly. You can go through my past videos. I joined Google. I told about the role and announced it on YouTube. And then I left Google, and I have also posted a video about that, like why I left it. So I won't go into much detail. But when I was leaving Google, I kind of knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to, try advocacy or DevRel. I also wanted to try at Google, and I did, but there was a process that I had to go through, and I didn't think it was fair for me to wait a year. So Twilio came in, and here I am. They saw that I was interested in getting in DevRel. I had some technical experience in the past working as Cloud and DevOps engineer. Went through the interview rounds. I had, my personal blog. So I have a Hashnote blog. So if you go to blog.rishabhkumar.com, so I've been writing technical articles for almost 2 years now. And I had that to show my, writing skills. And I also had my YouTube where I created technical demos to, show Twilio that I can do this job. And yeah, I was hired as a staff developer evangelist. But yeah, I did know where I wanted to go. So that's what made me apply for this specific role. Anurag Sharma says, I'm a senior cloud infra engineer now. How can I be a DevRel? Senior cloud infra engineer sounds really cool. Really cool. Just develop the skills that are needed for DevRel. So you already know you need to have, good documentation skills, and you need to have good communication skills because you'll be talking to good amount of developers and community members. So have examples of those skills. So in my case, as I said, I had this public blog, right? I have my Cloud Notes project that I can talk about that is, very well documented. I have my YouTube with, video-based content if that's something that they're looking for. I did talk at meetups, did technical demos at meetups and events. So I had an example of those events for the DevRel role. So start working towards those skills. Have an example for that, and I think you should be good. Because I think technically I feel like you're already good since you're a senior cloud infra engineer. Crazy Gamer says, thanks for the info. We'll start with looking for job posting and follow your roadmap. Keep up the good work. Thank you. No, thank you for hopping on the stream. That's why I'm here. Senior, I don't know how to pronounce your name, but Rupi Tenk. Hey yo, trying to learn DevOps. Currently, I'm a software developer. To be honest, it's quite since I work almost all day. How was for you getting the first job, or what do you recommend to find it? Same as I said. So you can see the first article. It's ironic enough. The first article on my blog post now is, or the latest article is, how I became a DevOps engineer. I'll link it down below. You can read that. I have a video on this too. But if you don't want to watch video, you're more of a, you like to read stuff, you can read this. But basically, the same advice goes for what I was saying about DevRel, is develop the skills that you know are needed for the role. So for DevOps engineer, it was a promotion, like a move or a promotion, you can say, from like cloud engineer. I would say a move from cloud engineer to DevOps. So I was working as a cloud engineer, and then they moved me to DevOps. And the reason that happened is I worked on IAC. I worked on custom modules with CloudFormation in AWS. I worked on monitoring when I was a cloud engineer. So I was working towards things that you would do as a DevOps engineer. And they saw that. And they were like, oh, would you like to work full time, on these things? Which at the moment I was working like a side thing, because I had responsibilities as a cloud engineer too. So I knew IAC was company's focus. I know observability and monitoring was company's focus. So I started working on those in my day-to-day job and developed those skills. And when the time came, I moved to the DevOps engineer role. So yeah, build those skills. Show that you are capable of being in that role. So yeah, that's my advice. Bhavesh says, I know what I want to do, but I'm scared of it not working out, even though I am working on it. Don't be scared of, I'm guessing you're scared of failure, and if it doesn't work out, don't be scared of that. I'll show you something. Go check out my channel. Scroll down to the bottom. Check out these videos that I did 2 years ago. They're not professional at all. I hate them because I have developed, the skill of making videos, technical videos, and I think I have improved a lot, but I have them still there to remind me of where I started and where I am today. And this, I know, for me, I don't care about this number here, because I know I have seen the improvement that I have done. And the reason I started this YouTube channel was to get better at public speaking, to get better at explaining technical stuff to other people, because that was one skill that I was lacking. And English is not my first language. So I'm from India, and I know Punjabi and Hindi, so those are my first languages. And it was really hard to get comfortable in the workspace and talk, technical things. So in order to get comfortable in that is the reason why I started this channel. And if I thought about failing, then I don't think I would be here where I am. So yeah, don't be scared of failing. In the end of the day, you'll learn something new, right? And that's how I go with my life in general, is just do things. And if you fail, it was a learning opportunity. If you succeeded, kudos to you. And also remember that if I didn't start this, I would have regretted it today. That why didn't I start my journey of getting better in public speaking, right? Back then. So yeah. Arti Patel says, how can I get started from the most basic level? Could you be more specific? What are you trying to start in? is it cloud or DevOps or tech in general? So yeah, if you can clarify that for me, that would be awesome. Tanya says, give some tips of contribution to open source for DevOps. Do we contribute to the Go language only in DevOps, or there are any other methods? No. Go contribute to my guide here. I have the DevOps guide. It's open source. It has, and that's why I have an MIT license. If you're looking specifically for Oktoberfest, we can figure out a way to. I think you only need to include a tag, right, for pull requests to be merged as a Oktoberfest contribution. But yeah, feel free to. It's pinned. The pinned comment is my GitHub repo. Go contribute to the DevOps guide that I have here. This is an open source guide that I built for the community, and if it's by the community, that will be awesome. So yeah, feel free to contribute there. And there are a lot of other projects that you can contribute to. DevOps, 90 Days of DevOps is also one. So yeah, go check it out. Karan says, would like to meet you personally. How can we do that? I can come to. Oh, awesome. Yeah. I'm flying to Edmonton tomorrow. But yeah, reach out to me on Instagram. It's Rishabh in Cloud. You can find that. You can find my socials in the. You can find my socials in the channel description. But yeah, reach out to me. We can definitely meet up personally. And if you're not around the KW or Kitchener-Waterloo area, I usually travel a lot. So if I'm in your area, hit me up and we can definitely, chat. Rishabh says, hey Rishabh, by the way, hi. What is view about DevOps engineer in India? To be honest, I can't comment on it. I still think, DevOps is kind of a hot topic right now, but since I'm in Canada, and I've been in Canada for the last 6-7 years, I can't really comment on my views here about DevOps engineer role in Canada. Maybe I will. I'm being involved with the Indian community a lot now through Twitter. So if once I have an opinion and views on this, I'll probably share it then. Bhavya says, thanks for the eye opener. Right now I'm preparing for AZ900. Awesome. He also says, what are the requirements of joining AWS Community Builder? What are the perks? For the Community Builder, one of the perks that I really like is $500 credit. So you get $500 of AWS credit yearly to work or to use in AWS. And that's why all of my stuff runs in AWS. And I don't have to worry about, a bill, because I think my annual bill is well under $500 right now. So yeah, I think that is one of the really good perks. The other one is you have access to the Slack channel where all other community builders are, and you can talk to AWS people, which is also really good. So yeah, those are the two great perks that I think. There are some other perks. So you get a free certification voucher every year. So you can sit AWS exam for free. You get access to Cloud Academy, which is a training platform. What else do you get? Yeah, I think those are some of the main perks of Community Builder. The requirements is you if you're passionate about AWS and you can show that through blogs or videos or contributions, that's what they need. Okay, Chetan Dhiman says, hey Rishabh, are you planning to do bachelor's in CS as well? I don't know. I do want to do it because, it's one of those things. In India, it's a different story. Like I feel like I would have done my bachelor's if I was still in India, right? Now that I'm in Canada and I'm, think I'm doing good with my career, and I don't feel the need of having a bachelor's degree. It feels like like I can spend that time somewhere else, right? Because it takes time and energy to get your bachelor's, and also money. So I don't know. I'll see. I do want to do it at certain point. I just don't know if it will be now. Always keep, there's this debate in my mind if I should do it or not. But yeah, if there is an online degree platform that works for me, I'll probably do it. I did sign up for the Coursera online degree. They have a University of London tie up with University of London to get your bachelor's in computer science, but I didn't like start it. Like I'm registered, but I didn't opt in any subjects or started studying in it. So I'll see if that changes. Here, so Rahul in Canada, would you recommend getting comfortable with one of the cloud platforms before starting out with DevOps? Definitely. So I'm writing prerequisite for the guide itself, and one of the prerequisite is cloud. So I do feel like you will be more comfortable if you know at least one cloud provider before starting towards DevOps. Linux, networking, and cloud. So these three are good prerequisite before starting in DevOps. Bhavesh says, I have a $25 credit and a 50% exam voucher. Awesome. I'm guessing this is for the AWS certification. Bhavesh says, it is overrated in India. So computer science engineering is overrated in India. I don't know. Again, no comments. I know it's changing in West, as you can see. You can have a pretty good career and jobs without a CS degree, right? Chetan says, right. I'm confused as well. I'm in Canada too, doing okay in tech, but I wanted to know your opinion as well. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we could chat offline someday. I have had this chat with a few other people, just to know their take on, like, am I missing out on stuff? So one of the things that a lot of people, I don't want to say had negative comment, I can say, or had complaint about, is when I shared I joined St. Lawrence College. So St. Lawrence College is the one that I graduated from as a diploma student, right? And I joined the same college this year as a professor for cloud, but I don't have my bachelor's or master's or anything. And one of the complaints or feedback people had is, how is that possible because you don't have your degree, right? I don't know how that's possible, to be honest. But yeah, I do know cloud and I can teach it, right? So, and my YouTube channel is an example. And I guess I was hired, so the college believes that I can teach cloud. There it is. Bhavesh says, I mean, it has scope, but people say it's a big deal and undermine other degrees. True. I think computer science degree has gained a lot of, I guess in India it's really competitive because people know it's a good profession, you have good money, right? And that's why everyone is kind of like, it's a hot space right now, just in general. Like in North America too, it's a hot space to work in technology, right? It brings in good money. You have a good career, and if you're really passionate, I think it's a win-win. And that's why I think it's highly competitive in India too, because here you can stand out if you have a bachelor's degree, but in countries like India and other like South Asian countries, everybody kind of has a degree because that's the norm, that's the normal there, right? And that's why it gets really competitive. And now companies have started comparing colleges, right? So if you're from like tier 1, tier 2 college, there are better chances of landing a better role compared to. So I don't like that. I think a person should be And I'm seeing that change now. I'm seeing it is changing now with remote work and companies paying more attention to the skill set rather than the prestige that comes with the institute's name. But yeah, Rishabh says, when I am coming to India, there were some plans for this year. Unfortunately, I have some events in US, so I'm also going to reInvent. So if you know, reInvent is AWS's biggest conference that happens in Vegas. So I'm going there, and then there is another event that I'm going to. So unfortunately, I won't be in India this year, but hopefully next year. I'm planning to visit my family and do some events in India. So yeah. Bhavya says, right now I am working on a research paper on e-learning on cloud. Oh, that's interesting. See, so that's what I want to work towards. Is write research papers. I love writing, and I want to do it in a professional manner. So maybe I should consider going back to college and do my bachelor's, and then I don't know if I want to do master's or not. Karan Jot. Hey Karan Jot, can we get in a cloud engineer field by self-learn? I heard it's very difficult without some diploma degree. I'm in Vancouver. I plan to do it by using your Learn to Cloud guide. Yeah, you can do it. Gwen's example is great. Gwen, especially in North America, I feel like you can do it if you're self-taught. But yeah, you will have to develop skills and learn on your own, and that can be hard sometimes. But Gwen doesn't have a degree, no diploma, and she works for Microsoft as a cloud advocate. She worked as a sysadmin. She worked as a cloud engineer. So yeah, I think it's doable. And Learn to Cloud, that guide, I think it has the examples in the beginning. Yeah. So can I really get into cloud by being self-taught? There are 2 videos. One is mine and one is Gwen's. Watch them both and you can see how we did it. I think those are good reference points for you, Karan Jot. So Bhavya says, is adding a research paper on my resume a good choice? Definitely, if it's well documented and if it's something like really good. I mentioned my blog, not specific articles, but the entire blog site that I write technical blogs, because I think documentation is a good skill to have. Chetan says, I'm almost done with Cloud Resume Challenge. What would you recommend after this, brother? Or to anyone who has completed Cloud Resume Challenge? Yeah, Cloud Resume Challenge covers a lot of tech topics. So you have a good understanding of different services, how they work in cloud. Also, I forgot. Please like the stream so that it gets in the algorithm and people tune in. It's the best way to support my channel. So yeah, if you could like the stream, that would be awesome. And if you find it helpful, me answering the questions, please leave a like. Yeah, so I was saying Cloud Resume Challenge is a really good project because it covers multiple services and how those work in conjunction together, which means you're working on real world problems. And it also covers some DevOps topics too, like CI/CD and stuff. The other projects, I know Gwen has mentioned them. Excuse me, I have some water. Been speaking for a while. But yeah, Gwen has some resources under projects in Learn to Cloud. Go check it out. They're great. I have a project where you can build a resume API endpoint using Azure Functions. So it is a serverless project. Me and Gwen did a containerized crypto .NET ticker project. That is also good. You have the serverless project that Gwen did for this serverless September event. So yeah, go check it out. It is very well documented, and you have videos too if you want to follow along, right? So yeah, learntocloud.guide, and then on the left hand side you can see projects. Go check it out. And if you are wondering a specific, like if you were looking for a specific project, Chetan, after Cloud Resume Challenge, yeah, I would do the serverless one. I think it's really good. So yeah, do the serverless, because then you have, 2 projects to talk about. Okay, Karanjo, thanks. Oh no, thanks for tuning in. I'm glad I could answer your questions. Bhavesh says, I'm from Nepal doing CS in India, Chandigarh University. I can't do campus placement, so I will get a job on my own. Awesome. Sounds good. Yeah. Well, I think I've almost been going for an hour now. And yeah, I just wanted to tune in, and I've been trying to do these streams, and I'll be doing them more often. So I know a lot of you like the stream, so thank you. And if you want to, get notified for any upcoming streams, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and that way you don't miss out these live streams, and I can answer these questions one-on-one. Kubernetes event, I don't know, was it KubeCon? Because I know KubeCon is happening in Detroit, right? KubeCon. Yeah, Detroit, Michigan on October 24th. So yeah, I don't know if something is happening in Canada, but do share if something is happening in Canada. I would love to know. Anyways, that was the stream. I hope you enjoyed. Hopefully I was able to help you with some of the questions and concerns. And yeah, watch out for any of the future streams. I try to make them friendly for both India and Canadian time zones. So yeah, feel free to reach out if you have any, concerns, questions. Drop them on my channel. My Twitter handle. You have my Instagram. So yeah, peace.